Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Danjo number 1-AB-VF flat front wrap-around plate for cylindrical door locks, 4x9 in antique brass. This is the genuine article. That's what it looks like in the packaging. Okay, I have one removed from the packaging so that we can review it. Now, the Danjo 1, very nice antique brass finish, isn't it? The Danjo number 1, the number 1 itself, refers to the dimensional properties of the item, not only in width, height, door thickness, location of lock set, and diameter of hole. And it gives, if you've got a Danjo 1, it'll be the same dimensional properties regardless of finish. The AB, that means obviously antique brass. This is going to be a piece of solid brass material, but they've got an antique brass finish that's been done on it. Okay. The VF in the part numbers, where it changes, that's a flat front style. Okay. Meaning you have a latch bolt that is not mortised into the edge generally, but it's drilled or inserted into a hole that is just a round hole, like a drive-in latch bolt would be in the edge of the door. Versus certainly the more common version of this that would be called the CW and not the VF, where it is actually mortised in the edge. Okay. Now this would be the typical model if you do not have, and here's the difference. If your latch bolt has a rectangular face on it, you want the CW model. If your latch bolt has just the drive-in face sticking out of the edge of the door, you want the VF model. Okay, that will be inherently the difference. Now, back to the dimensional properties of the item. There is an image below this video, pardon me, there is a link below this video to a document called Template that will allow you to review those dimensional properties, and let's go over it now. And again, all of the number 1s are going to be these dimensional properties. A number 1 is going to be 9 inch tall. It's going to be 4 inch wide. Okay. It's going to be intended specifically for an 1 3/8 door. It's going to have a single 2 1/8 inch hole. That's going to be at center line in the vertical center of the height of the door, so at 4.5 inch. And it's also going to be prepped at 2 3/8 back set. Edge of the door to the center of the hole is 2 3/8. This model is, I believe it's 50 thousandths of an inch material thickness, and I don't see that indicated on the template, but the caliper will tell us. The caliper says it's .048, so this is going to be the same thickness as a commercial quality kick plate, so it's quite thick and substantial. Okay. It's a lot of brass that's there is what I'm trying to say. Now the weight of this item is not insignificant. This item weighs 1.17 pound, or at least it does with the packaging. So figure 1 1/10 of a pound, 1.1 pound. So it's heavy is what I'm trying to get to. This model is going to have 4 holes drilled in it. That will be for the 4 screws that you're going to have. Okay. This model is also going to include these 2 funny screws. They're not like funny as in terms of being a comedian funny. They're funny in the sense that they have an unusual head on them. They have a very wide, very flat undercut head. Those would be for going through the 2 holes that are here. Okay. If you have a preparation where you want to physically attach the latch bolt to the inside of the unit, you'll get these 2 spring clips that are here. Okay. So you can get the latch bolt attached using those clips. Now, the way that those little clips there are, they're called speed nuts, and they're actually included with all VF or flat front model units. Imagine that your door is severely damaged, very much cracked, and there's really nothing for the latch bolt to stay down to. You could use the flat front model. You could use those funny screws with the real flat undercut heads. Put the clips on top and bottom of the latch bolt. Put it up behind the latch protector, and then run those screws through to hold the latch bolt physically onto this unit, so now it's attached. If you already know that you have a latch bolt with a rectangular face, order the CW, because that will have insert nuts that you'll attach it physically to this. But in an instance where you have a flat front model, you're going to get the speed nuts so that you can use a rectangular face latch bolt as well. Now, having said all of this, we are now looking at the balance of the information. We know all of the dimensional properties, the other finishes that it's available. It's going to be available, of course, in your common S for satin stainless steel. You're going to do PB for polished brass. You're going to do BZ for satin bronze, and then, of course, the AB for antique bronze. Your two bronzes and your brass, it's all a brass-based material. Your S will be satin stainless steel with a stainless base material. The balance of the information below this video states that it's for a cylindrical door lock, repairing, reinforcing, or remodeling doors, flat front design, used in a condition where the door is severely damaged, obviously. The dimensional properties. Okay. The link to the template we discussed now. There's a link below this to the product catalog, which is very handy because that will allow you to review the other quite common and sister products to the Donjo No. 1 wraparound plate. Meaning, you might say, well, the one is good, but I have a 2 3/4 back set. Well, the product catalog will allow you to actually determine what that part number is. And, you know, it's not a very large document. For instance, in our scenario, if you needed to go to an 1 3/8" door with a 2 3/4 back set, that becomes a number 3, a 3-VF or a 3-CW. Okay, so the product catalog can be used to great effect for looking at immediate sister products as they relate to what you're already potentially looking at. Where are you going to use this? Well, damage, mitigating damage. It is very unusual to have these installed in a new installation. Although it's not unheard of. I've sold these to people who've said, listen, this is a dorm building at Big Ten University XYZ, and I know these kids are going to beat the daylights out of the doors. Okay, they put those on right from the very beginning because they're going to end up putting them on eventually. But most commonly you have a scenario where you have damage on the door and you need to mitigate the damage. You will suffer the inclusion of this piece of hardware rather than looking to try to replace a door that may be irreplaceable. You might simply have a door that you cannot get a match for because the door was made in 1910 and would be ridiculously expensive to faithfully reproduce today, is why you might also need this. And that's a very common scenario as well. And of course the most common scenario is that someone kicked the door in and it's cracked, and I just need something to reinforce the door, and it's good. I'll be able to make it work with this. And that's where you're going to do this. Now, your installation of this, I've installed these loads of times, and they're easy. The only time that they're not easy is when you already have a very tight margin between the edge of the door and the jamb itself. If you've got a margin that's a 1/16 of an inch, it's going to be problematic because this is 50 thousandths thick. That's basically a 1/16 of an inch. In those sort of scenarios, you're going to want to try to find some space in the edge of the door. Maybe you can pull it back towards the hinges a little bit more. Maybe you're going to have to actually plane down the door a bit. I've even taken to a couple of times mortising the edge of the door so that this plate is literally flush with the edge of the door. Sure, that will mess up the back set slightly, but you're already mitigating damage, so you can make that work. So you're going to want to dry fit this first. See where you are, make adjustments to the door as necessary. You want to then dry fit it with the latch bolt installed and make sure that you've got proper door operation. And then finally, once you've got a good dry fit, what I like to do when I pre-drill the 4 holes is I will ever so slightly pre-drill my hole at a slight angle, only so that when I'll start the screws in at the same time, so that when the screw tightens and the underside of the head gets flush to the face of the plate, it will ever so slightly just draw that plate in and tight to the edge of the door. What you really want to have is a condition that the door still operates, at least in a modicum of original operation. You know, this is a Band-Aid, really, but, you know, Band-Aids are necessary, is the bottom line. So those are my ideas and concepts and tips and experiences regarding installation. Now, finally, to wrap this up, there is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Danjo products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. If you are familiar with Danjo already, you are probably familiar with their line of door reinforcing wraparound plates, possibly their latch protectors as well. You will see on that page that there is a significant quantity of additional top-level categories that they can get into, or that they do get into, that that are comprehensive of a full offering of trim and auxiliary hardware, that if you have more than an occasional need for the material, I would suggest that you review it. Why? Well, it's good quality product. You're already using them for some other hardware. Why not for the rest? Very good value, plus also tied in with the idea that you've got excellent customer service, very good technical support, and in the off chance that an error happens, or the rare occasion, Danjo makes it good. They own the problem, they bring resolution, and everyone's happy. And that's why they, in my opinion, earn future consideration. If you have any questions on the Danjo number 1-ABVF door reinforcing wraparound plate or any other Danjo product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.